almost a year of affiliate streaming. Woohoo! I play mostly shooters and horror games, i.e. mostly Valorant, Dead by Daylight, and then a bunch of other miscellaneous horror games. With Spooktober upon us, I have played Blair Witch, I have played Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and I had planned to do Outlast, and then I got hit with noisy neighbor complaints, and I can't do that in the middle of the night. Some creative outlets I do mixology, I do writing as well. Mixology, for those who don't know, it's alcohol mixing. I take a lot of fun and delight in mixing drinks and making them look pretty and tasting nice. So just a little model about the lore and whatever comes with Reuben himself. Reuben comes from the magical island of Baumseal, which is just a magical tree island. In lore, this tree is huge, covers the entire island. It's the only tree on the island, but it's taller than mountains because it's the entire tree on the island. And yes, it is just like the sandwich, for those of you who are wondering. The whole name is Reuben Sandwich. So it does draw inspiration from the sandwich itself. You can find me here on Twitch there, which is exactly how it is, and the Twitter handle is @CapReuben right down there.
Phenomenal. All right. So I am Katsuke. I am a graffiti cat girl VTuber. As you can see on Reuben's panel as well, these are both of our designs. This is some art by a lovely artist whose name is in the corner and I can read better.
Ranch, I believe.
Yes, by Ranch. They're a wonderful artist on Twitter. Fantastic person. I did my debut back on September 15th of 2021. I rigged my own live 2D model, but then ended up getting gifted a 3D model shortly after. So that was an absolute blessing, and I've been streaming since. I tend to do a lot of comfy games as well as retro stuff. Lately I've been playing a lot of Slime Rancher, and I've also been doing a lot of Ocarina of Time randomizers and multiplayer mods for that. With that said, I am clearly a cosplayer. I also do digital art, and I am a musician as well. I do a lot of singing and covers. We have a lot of karaoke streams on my channel as well. So my VTuber lore, my VTuber is from New Tokyo, which is a cyberpunk city, and it's ripe with corruption. The goal, her goal is to be able to set the city free from this corruption by reaching out to all of you. So with that said, my VTuber name, the fun fact that I have for you is that the name for my VTuber is in both German and Japanese. This is due to her in-law parents being German and Japanese. So it is Katsuke. K like the fashion, and Katse as in cat. You can see there I have my Twitch, which is Katsuke, and on Twitter I am KatsukeBN. Yes. All right. So we will start it off. Again, I do want to thank you all for coming. This is a fantastic turnout, and I'm really happy to be able to share this stuff with you. Now, with that said, what we wanted to go over with you is some kind of vocabulary that if you're new to this or you haven't really been around in the spaces as much, you might not know. So what the hell is a VTuber? Probably wondering that if you aren't sure. So a VTuber is someone who uses a model, typically in an anime style, to essentially be their presence online in the form of streaming, YouTube videos, whatever it may be for their content. They use that persona instead of their face. V as in virtual, tuber as in, well, YouTuber. Now, a 2D model. I did mention live 2D earlier. A 2D model is a model that is drawn on a 2D plane. So it is something that is what you typically see like straight out of an anime, right? And then from there, we have the phrase mama/papa. In the VTuber community, this is going to refer to someone who's either done the art for your model or rigged your model.
Or both.
Or both. So from there, the rigging, that has to do with mainly 2D VTubers. A 2D VTuber is going to need rigging for their model to be able to move. So with that said, a rigger is someone that uses a platform called Live 2D to animate that and make that VTuber be able to move with facial tracking.
Which is a massive headache.
It is. It's not fun, so pay your rigger as well because they do a incredible job with everything they do.
They have a lot more mental patience than I do.
Absolutely. So 3D models. This is going to be a model that is on the 3D plane and can rotate fully in a circle and can have things like hand tracking that is tracked via something called a leap motion or sometimes webcam tracking. These things allow a 3D VTuber to have a lot more interactability than your typical 2D model. That's not to say a 2D model doesn't have its own perks. Aesthetically, a lot of people go for the 2D model for the sake that it is more anime styled. However, you can make a 3D model look straight out of an anime. I've seen some really fantastic ones that you would think were 2D until you see them spin around. That said, a Vroid. Vroid is a platform that is free to use, that you can use to create your own 3D model with just a few clicks to be able to have a VTuber of your own. And we will be demonstrating that today. Blender is another 3D software that is used a lot with this stuff. People will usually either create an entire model from scratch in Blender or use Vroid as a base and then build on top of it. So a PNG tuber. PNG tubers are going to be people who do not have a model that necessarily moves with their body or tracks with their camera. It's going to be something that kind of has a single frame for mouth closed, a single frame for mouth open, and that reacts to their voice. This is a really good way to get started because it's really low bar for entry. You can at least like show off your design in that way without having to have all of the tech that goes into having a 2D or 3D model. Now, with that said, say-so and lewdtuber are also terms that you'll hear a lot. Say-so meaning family-friendly. Lewdtuber, well, not so much.
The filter is gone.
Yes. Vtweeter. This term can be somewhat derogatory sometimes, but it is something that is used for someone who is maybe pre-debut and isn't streaming yet, but does have a Twitter and does post art of their character and whatnot and interact in the VTuber space, but isn't quite to the streaming level yet. That said, it's perfectly fine to be at that state. It's fine to work on developing your character with that. But it can be sometimes used derogatory to say like, oh, well, you're not even streaming. It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's used like in a derogatory way because V-tweeting, like that is putting yourself out there. That is advertisement. That is showing off your model. That is showing off your humor. That is showing off what the content you're doing. So the fact that people look at that and it's like, wow, why aren't you streaming? What the hell, man? What are you doing that for? It's weird.
Yeah.
Because everyone who does that, so every YouTuber does that, just about.
Yes.
It's V-tweeting regardless of whether they're streaming or not. I don't know why.
Right, exactly.
It's weird.
It is
It's just advertisement.
Exactly. Oshi marks. Oshi marks are used a lot with the major corporate YouTubers. You may have heard of Hololive, Vshoujo, or Nichi-sanji, which we'll talk about in a moment. Oshi marks are going to be like an emoji that someone who that you would list on your like Twitter or your channel, saying, "Hey, if you really like me and you like look up to me and I'm like your favorite, put this emoji in your name on Twitter or whatever, and then you're identifiable as being a fan of this person." Super easy way to kind of garner interaction with people, and I see a lot of people who are huge like stans of Hololive doing this. Fan tags, again, same kind of idea. These are hashtags that a VTuber will use for fan art or contests or just people talking about them in general. Hashtags to be able to help be able to find these things a little easier. Coming up with them can be a chore, but they are very useful. Corporate versus indie. Again, I mentioned corporate earlier. Corporate is going to be someone who is under a label. So just how like you would have indie musicians or someone who is maybe signed with Universal, you will have a corporate VTuber who would be someone who is with either Hololive, Vshoujo, Nichi-sanji, or any other corporation that is essentially funding these VTubers to be able to have additional support and go on to do even bigger things, like having their own music or concerts or all of the above. CoverCorp / Hololive, one of the biggest names within this space. Cover Corporation is who is going to bring you names like Gardura, Mori Calliope. These people are spread across both the Japanese audience, the English audience, Indonesian audiences. There are groups for women, there are groups for men. It is a very big space, and these people are considered idols. Vshoujo is is another corporation that does a similar thing to to Hololive. However, they're a bit more lax with their creators. They kind of let their creators be a little bit more themselves, and you typically see a little more of a mature energy from the people in Vshoujo. Niji Sanji, same kind of thing. Separate from Hololive, I'd say it's kind of an in-between between the unhingedness of Vshoujo and the not quite straight and narrow, but more civilized nature of Hololive. We'll go to the next slide. Want to talk about 2D versus 3D?
Heck, I do. Heck yeah, I do. So this is Vtuber's model. She mentioned like 2D and 3D a while ago, and how it could be hard to discern. The first thing that comes to mind is Vtuber right here. It took me, I had to look at this image for probably like a solid 5 minutes before I realized, oh, that's right. It is the left one, right? It is the 2D.
The left one is 2D.
Yes, the left one is 2D. The right one is 3D. And then, in some sense, you could call this like a PNG just because it's standing still right now. But yeah, so like as Cass was explaining earlier, 2D versus 3D. 2D is going to give you that more anime-esque feel, more that anime-esque style. And the 3D comes with a lot of perks, like 3D rotation, or hand tracking.
Importing the model into VR chat and having
Yes,
interactability with your community.
Through some jumps and hoops, allow you to import it into VR chat. Kat's went out, tried to do that with her model a while ago. Found a couple issues, such as her bangs just clipping into her forehead all the time. Wasn't your tail also not physically peeking correctly?
Yes.
And then PNG. I've also heard some things where people are like, oh, PNG tubers aren't real VTubers. That is baloney, because I have seen tons of created PNGs. There is a whole program that you can use with PNG tubing, which we will talk about a little later. But it allows you to have different expressions as a PNG. It allows you to have movements, and you can still use assets and all that fun jazzy stuff you could use with your full 2D or 3D model with your PNG as well. Being a PNG tuber is just as VTuber-esque as being a 2D or a 3D. There is nothing wrong with being a PNG. A lot of VTubers start with a PNG to begin with, just because it is cheaper to get a PNG model with just a simple open mouth, closed mouth, and than it is to get a full model, both 2D or 3D, and then especially with 2D, also having to pay for rigging after that.
Yes.
So PNG, if you have wanted to look into getting into VTubing but didn't want to spend all the money to get the full model, a PNG is a great place to start because it still gives you that VTuber effect without having to break the bank with rigging and full-blown model.
And it does allow you to at least start streaming and see if it's something you like. Because I think we all, especially people especially mine and Reuben's age group, I'll go ahead and say we're both 22. We grew up with people like YouTubers, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, the whole game, right? So all of us kind of have this little bug in our head that says, God, I'd love to be a YouTuber. I would love to just play video games and have that be my job. But you don't think about that from an outside perspective of how much you have to think about algorithms and all of this crazy stuff that goes into it and how time-consuming that can be.
Turns out you have to actually create content to be a content creator.
Correct. And believe it or not, it's not internationally easy to do that. So with that said, having a PNG allows you to step into the space there and see if it's something you truly enjoy. We'll go to the next slide.
If I might add real quick.
Absolutely.
Another thing people don't think about most of the time, if you don't have an extreme gaming computer or something, it is hard for your computer to run a 3D model, a game, and encode video at the same time. So for if your entry is lower tier with a PNG tuber, that might actually save it from being chunky the whole time because your computer is crying out for help.
Correct. And I will say, like, he's very correct in that I'm actually looking to upgrade my CPU because I do run a 3D model. And in certain games, my CPU is running at 100% if I am live. And that gets real rough real quick.
You hear the jet engine taking off in the room.
Yeah. So what we're going to kind of go over with you guys is some pointers on designing a character. So you've already decided I would I would like to be a VTuber. And we're going to kind of go over what things you should think about in that regard. Not everyone in here is an artist. But being able to kind of understand the basic principles and know where you should be kind of aiming, it helps out to at least be able to convey what you're trying to look for to an artist and know what to like aim to achieve.
May I?
Absolutely.
Please no.
Pikachu!
It's a ditto.
So, clearly we've gotten several laughs and groans already. And with that said, one of the things we want to discuss is how important silhouettes can be in a character design. You do not see what that character is beneath this black fill, but you all knew what it was off the bat.
I don't wanna.
It's an AI.
Yeah. So clearly, the crewmate is in fact an effective character design. So with that said, we want to discuss how silhouettes can really convey a character. So if you have a character like this that has these shapes that clearly stand out and clearly make sense just from a brief look that is the crewmate from Among Us. If you have at least, yes, if you've achieved something to where someone can look at an outline of your model and go, oh, that's cats.
Or, oh, it's cats.
Yeah. So you have clearly, like me here, I'm cosplaying as Hatsune Miku. When you see like a cutout of a Hatsune Miku like silhouette, that is very iconic. You can tell with the pigtails and everything that is in fact Miku. Same thing with a lot of other characters. SpongeBob. Just to go off. Go ahead.
I was watching a VTuber like a couple weeks ago. She was playing Phasmophobia, and in one of the rooms that's in Phasmophobia, it's like a garage. You could clearly see the silhouette of Hatsune Miku.
That's fantastic. But with that said, having an effective character design has a lot of things that play into it, but being able to be memorable and easy to describe is the biggest part of it. If your character is kind of just a generic anime boy in a hoodie, it's not going to be something that someone really remembers. You can have a hoodie.
There's something wrong with that. You gotta stay cozy somehow.
Exactly. However, going a bit beyond that will help you become memorable. So with that said, color choices can be a big part of this. If you want to have a character that is red and blue and clashing colors, that is A-okay. However, picking those colors carefully can help you have a model that doesn't kind of just jump out at people and almost kind of irritate their eyes in a way. With that said, sticking to limited like color palettes, even if that's just looking up a color palette, like just, I want a red and green color palette. If you search that on Google Images, you will find several color palettes that you can choose from, and you can use that to help pick, oh, I want the socks on my character to be green, I want the shirt to be red. It helps. So using those resources are incredibly wonderful, and we're here to kind of help you be able to find that.
A disclaimer, if you go searching for red and green color palettes, you may find yourself with some links to Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Very true. It's very true.
You have been warned.
Okay, so with that said, another thing that you want to consider is your lore and your personality. So a lot of VTubers start out as OCs. If you have been within the art space or within even like the role-playing spaces for a consistent part of your life, OC is the term you've heard of. If not, it's an original character. The character that you designed, you came up with, And a lot of people will take old characters that they had and go, you know, I'd really like this to be my VTuber. So when it comes to that, that's 100% an okay way to do it. Both of our characters came from that. But with that said, being able to have a backstory to that character will help you flesh out what kind of clothing they should wear, how they should behave. Now, determining whether or not you want to have a VTuber in which you are really playing a character and trying to be like not yourself, or just wanting to have that model be an extension of you is completely your choice. Some people do it either way. But determining that before you start will help you kind of have a bearing as to what you're trying to do. So some resources for you. Got a bunch of them. So these are things that are free or free plus to get you started and to be helpful in creating this. So Picrew. Picrew is a wonderful thing, and it's super helpful if you want to be a PNG tutor, or at least to start. Picrew is a free website that will allow you to just create a character with preset assets from a artist that has already made a palette for you. So if you remember like those old like Flash games that you could pick out little pieces and dress up a girl on like Girls Go Games, it's that, but now it's like an anime character and the art's actually pretty. So with that said, Picrew is wonderful and a huge help. You will likely run into a lot of those being in different languages.
Yes.
Google Chrome is a lovely thing that will automatically translate that for you, and they will have their terms and conditions letting you know if they are okay with you using this for commercial, which if you are making money off of streaming, that is considered commercially. And so long as they're okay with that, you can use this as your base PNG. Ko-Fi. Ko-Fi is a lovely thing. There are a few different, there's a lot of people that upload assets on there, whether that's stingers for transitioning between slides during your stream, or background music, or fun little hats you can put on your VTuber, or just anything you can dream of, someone has probably made it. If you Google Pokemon VTuber asset, you're probably going to find some. I remember when I was streaming Legends Arceus, there were a ton of free stuff that I was able to put on my stream to have my little starter Pokemon next to me and everything. Super cool. Booth, same idea. However, this is more, this website is based out of Japan. It goes hand in hand with Vroid as it's made by the same company, but Booth is a place where people will upload either assets for Vroid models, which can be free, some can be for purchase. They will be just listing yen though. And from there, also some of those assets, those hats, those silly goofy things that you can buy. From there, VTube Studio, if you are being a 2D VTuber, VTube Studio is the best software that you can use at this time to do that effectively. Once you have a rigged model, your rigger will send that information to you. VTube Studio is free. It is available for download on Steam and on their website. So you can download that for free. It is relatively low resource-wise from a computer standpoint, and it does come with a watermark. I believe it's like $10, and then you have that watermark.
Like $5 to $10.
Depending on if it's on sale or not, yeah.
If you don't mind the little flying pixie fairy, if you don't mind the little flying fairy watermark on your screen, you can just do it for free.
Exactly.
Or if you have something to cover it up, like actually in your stream, look at that.
Boom. So from there, Fiverr. Fiverr's a wonderful resource as well, as a lot of people offer very low-priced commissions on that website. Fiverr is aimed to be like a $5 kind of place for you to get something. Whether that's Fiverr has the most wild things on it. If you've never watched a YouTube video of people looking at Fiverr listings, it's hilarious. But Fiverr has a ton of stuff for VTuber people because so many people out there will offer, I'll create your VTuber model, I'll rig your VTuber model, and you could be looking at $10, $50, $100, something much less.
One moment.
Something much less high cost than going to someone who, like the person who rigged your favorite VTuber's model. That's probably going to cost you, I'll be honest, like $1,000.
An arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Maybe a kidney.
Go ahead.
The one I have that is gonna be rating. She's gonna not only do my art, but she's also gonna rig it.
Yes.
And she wants 800 for it.
Yep, it is. So getting a full 2D model is not exactly a cheap way to get started. However, there are ways to do this that isn't going to be completely up to your wallet. Vtuber Kit is another wonderful resource that's available via itch.io. The creator of that has uploaded that for free. It is a 2D model software that creates a little chibi model for you. You have a ton of different color choices and hair choices. You can get started with that and use that just off the rip. It has no watermark, free to download. They do accept donations, as it is a very cool thing that they've done. And then as far as editing in terms of photos, or maybe even just getting started trying to do art for this yourself, Ibis Paint, Photopia, and
Photopia's great.
oh god, Photopia is wonderful. And Fire Alpaca are going to be the three that I would recommend the most. Photopia is a Photoshop clone that runs entirely within your browser. So if you've ever used Photoshop before in like high school, like you took like a multimedia class, you will know how to use that off the rip. It will not be a barrier to entry and you trying to just figure out where everything is. It is laid out the exact same, and it is free and it runs within your browser. There's a couple ads on the side of the page, but that's it. So super simple. From there, go ahead. So this is something that my lovely Reuben here, but obviously, so I'll let him.
Yeah, so the icon on the screen, or the image that you can see on the screen is what's called VideoTube Mini. This helps you can make this is how you make your PNG tuber, or not how you make your PNG tuber, but is a program that allows you to use your PNG tuber, and this is how you would get the multiple expressions. This is how you would get more than opening and closing with your mouse. This is how you would also get like, you can also get blinking animations done with this. You can get, it has things in the program that allows your model to like kind of like jump around while you're talking rather than just like jumping up once and opening your mouth and then closing again. It allows you to highlight, unhighlight when you're talking, all that fun jazzy stuff. There is also, the second thing listed here is reactive images. If you've seen VTuber streams and there's multiple of them, like, or there's the VTuber and you see all the little talking images on the bottom, all the little PNG tubers at the bottom, that is the browser source that is using that. That is what that is. It's 100% free, and all it requires is that you are in a Discord call with people that you're reactive imaging with, I guess is the term I will be using. And then after a couple of copy and paste and browser sources, you'll get all the little images at the bottom of your OBS to filter out.
Yes. Okay, and we want to show you real quick a program called TITS. That is the Twitch Integrated Throwing System. And if you have ever seen a VTuber on stream getting everything,
Pelted.
yeah, just completely bodied by anything from their chat, that is the program they're using. It's a program you run on top of everything else. And your chat can pay channel points, bits, whatever you set it up for, to throw things at you. And let me tell you, people love throwing shit at VTubers.
People love throwing stuff.
If you will
I
let them,
am people.
yes.
So,
So
your face.
you can absolutely destroy someone. With my 3D model, I have literally watched my VTuber's spine like break in half from how hard my chat was just pelting me. Go on.
There was one of my VTuber friends that debuted recently. He had set up his tits, and however, he made the very poor decision to not give them a cooldown. And so we were able to endlessly pelt him with random stuff, random emotes, and essentially we kept him off the screen for probably roughly about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Here's your debut. You will not be featured in your own stream.
So with that said, we wanted to kind of give you just a few pointers based on our experiences. Due to time, we're just going to kind of do this really quick fire. But one of the biggest things is to just start. Like, if this is something you want to do, there is no problem with just starting with the bare bones, like, no bells and whistles. It is okay to do that. Another big thing is to be your own biggest supporter. If you don't feel confident in what you're doing and you don't think that you have what it takes, that's okay and that's completely valid to feel that way. However, when it comes to like just saying, guys, I'm live, guys, I'm streaming, please come out and support me, this is gonna be awesome, you need to have the energy to say, guys, this is gonna be cool, you need to come out here because I'm gonna rock this. And that will really help people want to be a part of that. Reuben, do you wanna go ahead?
Yeah. So with that whole thing, you want to be your biggest fan, right? At the end of the day, it is your stream, it is your model, it is your setup, it is your stream, all that fun jazzy stuff. You are your biggest supporter. You want to be putting, you don't want to be putting all your money into it, but at the end of the day, you're your biggest supporter. You should be the one putting the most into your stuff. Because if you're excited about your stuff and you're hyped to show off all your stuff, everyone else is going to be hyped to see it. You have to go out there, advertise, all that fun jazzy stuff. Nothing has to be perfect when you're streaming. A lot of people kind of sit there and be like, oh, I don't want to do this until I have this, or once I get this, then I can do everything perfect. Don't wait till everything's perfect. If you wait till everything's perfect, you're going to miss out on experience, on how to deal with scuffage and if things break, and then also you will get to be able to grow in that time. People will sit there and are more than okay with watching you grow from just the camera on the game and nothing into having a full overlay, into full chat bots, into full custom follow alerts, sub alerts, emotes, all that fun jazzy stuff. Nothing has to be perfect when you're starting. If you wait till everything's perfect, it will never be perfect.
You wait till everything's perfect, you're probably never going to start. Now, with that said, the last piece of advice that I will give is to please, 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 please do not prioritize any of this over any other costs that you have for you being able to live and have your life. You do not want to dump all your $1,000 into a Vtuber model and then not be able to pay rent. I have seen it happen way too many times, and I know we're all excited. I know we're all huge nerds, but please, please just start with something simple. The time will come for you to be able to do that.
But I just want to be anime.
I know. Go ahead.
I was wondering, when it comes to designs and making your own art, can you say have someone help you design something? Is there any risk of them stealing your design? And if there is, how do you handle that?
So, depending on how you're doing it, if you are if this is a friend of yours or someone that you're a mutual with online, I would just be cautious in that. You don't want to end up with someone going, oh, this is a really cool design now. But if it were to, really, the best thing that you can do is write up a call-out post. That's kind of really the only thing that you can do. In terms of copyright with this stuff, really, once you have your stuff out there, there are ways to file for copyright legally. But with that said, it's not something a lot of people do off the rip. Most people are fine with helping you so long as you give them credit. I've had to say, hey, I've helped out. These 15 people helped me do this, and that's okay. They're happy to have that. Go ahead.
Kind of interesting thing with copyright, HoloLive specifically. Last year, there was no merchandise of them, anywhere here whatsoever. This year, there are booths with, posters of them. So I don't know what happened there, but the copyright term boosted up or something.
So I think a lot of it is that they kind of blew up. HoloLive EN was just getting their start last year. People were really starting to pay attention to them, but they weren't as huge. With the lovely people in the vendors alley, they're gonna bring what they think will sell, and I don't think the audience was as big last year. In terms of copyright, though, it definitely Cover Corp has put out a lot more with the English girls and being okay with fan works to a certain point. They've released statements on it. That is an entirely different topic, really, when it comes to artists and fan works and being able to sell it at an event like this. But depending on the person or the corporation, it can really vary. Now we'll go from here.
arrow keys never work.
So I do want to just put this up here. Spooky is a friend of mine who runs a Ko-Fi shop that has a ton of useful stuff on it.
Tons of free assets.
Yes. Free assets, music, singers, the whole nine. They're a motion artists and they're absolutely incredible.
All he asks is that you just credit.
Yep. Just
Credit your artists.
Correct.
Please.
Due to time, I'm not going to read this out loud, but I'll leave it up for a second for you guys to read through it. This is his advice as someone who creates a ton of stuff for VTubers to use. And he is a wonderful person. His tags are up there, and you should absolutely give him a follow, or at the very least check out his Ko-Fi, because ton of stuff for you there. I will leave it for just a second. I'll wait just a little bit to let you read.
Where's the Jeopardy thing?
Yeah, right. Okay, so with that said, I will open up a Q&A. We'll take about 5 minutes to do that, and then we will go into just creating this model real quick. We're going to speed run it. So does anyone else have any questions?
Over there.
So, is it like reasonable to expect to like have a good time / be successful doing this if you're like just starting when you're like older, like 30s or 40s?
Absolutely. I know at least 2 people that are in fact later in their lives that are starting this. It is never too late to start these things. I mean, like, when we look at like the bigger like face cam streamers, like a lot of people are up in that demographic, and sure they may have been starting it a little sooner, but you're never going to get anywhere if you don't start. And with that said, a lot of people that I play games with and a lot of people that I stream with, I know a handful of speedrunners that are in their late 30s, and they are fantastic people, and they have a ton of fun streaming, and I have a ton of fun streaming with them. So whether it's VTubing or streaming in general, really it's just a matter of starting. I don't think age should matter at all. Unless you are a minor and you're trying to do NSFW content. Please don't do that.
Yeah, no. Big no-no.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to state that there are a couple of, I've ran into some VTubers that are male on Twitch, and one of them ended up purchasing an entire VTuber for his grandma that she's on with him on Twitch.
That's very sweet.
And she's like 79 or something, and she's got her own VTube characters, and she's all blue and watery.
So again, very much saying so that age is not a factor in this. On top of it, you can have your character look as young or as old as you want. So you being the person behind that, most people aren't going to care in the slightest. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Can the concept or the design and backstory and all that stuff when you start, can that drastically change?
Yes. I have seen a ton of my friends go through what we call rebrands. And what that is going, hey, I don't really like dealing with this character anymore, or I don't really vibe with it. I want to change the lore. I want to change the visuals. That happens all the time, and people will do that a ton and make big events out of it, of, hey, we're changing all this. And it's a super exciting thing for the communities, but it's also a thing that happens all the time. It is okay to just kind of have a basic idea and then later on go, yeah, I don't think this was what I wanted, actually. Yeah. Completely okay. Just keep in mind that, once you're spending that money, you retire a model, well, you're not getting that money back. So be cautious in spending that money, but yeah, completely okay. Yes, this is Iron Mouse.
I thought it was Iron Mouse. Me?
Yeah.
I am extremely late. I got caught in the shirt, but I don't know what I missed, and I feel bad because I really want to become a VTuber.
All right.
But
I will say this is all recorded.
Yeah.
What?
This will be all recorded and uploaded.
My channel.
Yes,
Okay,
up to our
so I have a
YouTube channel.
question.
Huh?
Well, I don't know if this has been answered yet, but because I just got here. But what would do you have any advice for someone who's been really struggling to become a VTuber for a few years, but really, honestly, has like a lot, even though he has like a huge YouTuber thing now, but something like or a 2D light thing, but that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is, do you have any advice for someone who's getting into it, but is really small, like a really small stringer, like lucky to have like two or three people in there, and then has like, you know, hardly anyone talks. It kind of gets to me like the comments takes a nosedive. I start having trouble commentating while playing the games. It's just really bad, and it makes me really quick.
Yeah, no, so that is something both of us have absolutely dealt with. I'll be honest, like both of us typically average between 5 and 10. Sometimes when we get rated from like our bigger VTuber friends, we'll maybe end up with like 30. Neither of us have huge channels, and neither of us have made a ton of money.
I'm lucky if I even have one.
And that's completely okay.
I feel so bad.
It's not a problem though, because yes, you want to be successful, and yes, you want to have people in there. But the biggest things is promoting yourself and doing this one simple trick called turning the viewers off in OBS. You can hide that, and you don't have to look at it, and you don't have to think about it. It makes it so that you're not constantly stressing over it. I personally like to have them on, but he doesn't. He hates it.
Yeah, when I stream though, when no one's talking in the chat at all, and that happens a lot with me.
You get to this point where you're just kind of sitting there and you don't really know what to say.
I'm trying to adopt the mindset of like talking, you know, maybe commenting on what's happening in the game, or maybe reacting to something, or you know, but I can't really react to chat or talk to chat like
when there's no chat.
When there's no chat.
Yeah.
There's literally no one talking.
It sucks.
It sucks so much, and it makes me feel like.
So that was something I struggled with for a very long time. Without like moving chat, I'm like, wow, I feel not funny at all. Luckily there's a ton of just basic streaming sources out there, especially on YouTube. Stream Scheme is the best one to watch and learn about. He goes over a lot of things to that's one of the biggest things that helped me a lot was watching a video on specifically how to stream to nobody. And it can be very tough. It can be very. It can feel very lonely, but the chat's not moving, and it's just like, wow, this feels weird. At the end of the day, you are streaming for yourself. That sounds like selfish to put it that way, but at the end of the day, so you just need to find your way to have fun. Maybe it's like making a little mini game out, doing something silly in the game. Streaming is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
Streaming and content creation is a marathon. It's not an end. You just have to. Yes, you got to keep on going. You got to hype yourself up. Maybe just a little caffeine or something like that. I know.
Oh yeah.
I know I've got a
chugging an energy drink before you start streaming will make you hyper, and it is very nice. My other thing would be to absolutely, if you have somebody that maybe off stream you play games with, if you don't think they're gonna say some absolutely abhorrent shit while you're streaming, absolutely bring them on.
Don't even know they don't.
Okay, well that's okay. If you have someone, or joining a Discord, we both have one, joining one and starting to play games with people, having those people in there with you, you'll just have a conversation naturally with them, and then you won't have to worry about, oh my god, I'm not talking, oh my god, I'm not talking.
I have a Discord, but it's kind of dead.
Well, ours is not, so if you come up afterwards, we'll get you in it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One last question.
Yes.
And I'll shut up. But, okay. As for the promoting, I'm horrible. I don't do a lot of social media because of personal mental health reasons.
I get that.
But I realize almost every streamer has a Twitter now, and I'm like, to promote their thing, and I'm like,
so that is.
Even though I have one, I hardly ever post on there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to promote properly. I don't know how to hype people up. I don't know any of that. You know?
So a big thing within the VTuber space is to use hashtags on Twitter. Hashtag VTuberEN, hashtag ENVTuber, hashtag VTubers Uprising. Posting a picture of your model and saying, oh my god, I'm so excited, hey, I'm going live. And even from there, unfortunately, when it comes to the nature of this stuff, you're not going to be able to avoid social media when you're streaming. And the biggest resource for VTubers right now to get an audience is TikTok.
Oh no.
It's so easy to make just like a quick, easy, just TikTok and put it out there based on whatever audio you find and think is funny. If you don't like it, that's completely okay.
You can use like some of your Twitch clips.
Yeah, Twitch clips are wonderful.
it is also good to separate your personal life from that.
Yes,
So,
I never use social media for
yeah.
personal life. I use it for
Or-
like, the Twitch thing, and that's it.
exactly. Like, it's good to keep that separation because you post something to Twitter and you never look at it, and you don't have to worry about it affecting your health afterwards. You just leave it be, let it sit out there.
Yeah, my Twitter is literally just for my Twitch channel and for me and video.
Yeah.
Yep, completely okay.
We have one more question behind you.
I know no sun was
Oh,
here waiting
yeah,
for a while.
right, sorry.
Thank you for asking for hearing my question.
In terms of, we went over race versus people, like, do you have any tips for really tracking them down, maybe some higher quality versus are good reviews?
Yeah, so one of the best ways to do it is by searching for VTuber assets on Twitter. There are a couple people, namely Spooky, who we talked about a minute ago, and Freya Amari. Those are people who are just really wonderful in that. If you go on Twitter and you see someone saying, hey, I made this asset and it's free, look at their profile. A lot of the times they have more than just that one asset, and you might find something you really like. Going beyond that, Booth again is something that's really helpful for that because of how much is on there, and a lot of that is from Japanese artists. And from there, you can really find a ton of resources that can help you. I do want to, I would answer more fully if you are on TechCrunch. I'll let you go and you will, go ahead.
Flower crown.
Do people ever do like collaborations? So they'll be playing like a multiplayer game and one of their friends is not a VTuber but the other one is?
Absolutely. One of my best friends, his name is Metroid Master, and we both stream Ocarina of Time multiplayer together. However, he uses a face cam, and even if your friend isn't a streamer necessarily, so long as they're comfortable with knowing that, like, you know, you are live, so long as you're disclosing that, a-okay. Iron Mouse here and CDog VA, who you may have seen in a lot of voice acting roles. He uses his face cam. Now, he does have a separate YouTube identity now, but yeah, it's a secret. But previously, he did not have that, and that was okay. Is it as common? No, but it's not like, oh my god, you're a flesh tuber? No.
Actual term, by the way.
Flesh tubers. Flesh tuber.
A flesh tuber.
There's a virtual tuber, a VTuber. There's a real person. There's a flesh tuber.
No, flesh.
Oh, flesh tuber. Yeah. So, with this, we're gonna kind of speed run.
We are? Okay. It's not moving.
Okay, you'll swap with me then.
Aye.
Yes. So, I'm just gonna show you what Vroid would be like. What I think I'll do, since we ran out of time today, since we ran out of time today, what I think I will do is when I replay this, I will be creating a VTuber model with my chat. So if you're interested in winning something and possibly getting a model, I would love to have you there. Now, with that said, this is Vroid Studio.
God, I tried to use that, but I didn't understand it.
Yeah, so
There are a lot of tutorials, though.
there's a ton of tutorials, and
I didn't understand any of like the rigging process at all. I watched like 100 videos. I
Yeah.
still don't understand.
yeah. But Vroid is a fantastic software that can help you be able to create a 3D VTuber. This is just one that they've made. It's fine, whatever. But this software is fantastic. I have a lot of experience using it. And if you'd like to know more, I'd be happy to have anyone come up and speak over in that area so we're out of the way for the other panelists. And I will be happy to get anyone in my Discord, get socials or anything. And if you are an aspiring VTuber, I'd love to hear from you and get your socials as well.
Thank you all for staying. Have a great rest of your con, alright?
Absolutely. Happy Nebkon!
I am starved.
Okay, so I'm going to get myself unplugged for the next person.
Oh my gosh.
So you could say this was for her.
Yeah.
Yes.